The Dallas Stars lost to the Boston Bruins 2-0 tonight in Boston in a game that will start just with a scary incident where Curtis McKenzie left the game. He got high-sticked. It was pretty bloody, and he is now on his way to the hospital at this moment to get the stitch cut up, to get the cut stitched up, and he will not travel with the team to Carolina. Hopefully, it's just a precaution, and he'll get it stitched up, and he'll be fine. Once we get an update on that, we'll give an update on that. Either way, it looks like I think the Stars will have to call up a forward for Saturday's game against the Carolina Hurricanes with Yuri Hudler still an injury scratch, so possibly maybe a Justin Dowling, maybe even a Matty Stransky, maybe even a Jamel Smith could get called up to play against Carolina if Yuri Hudler's not healthy enough for Saturday's game, and if the Stars decide not to go with 7 defensemen, since they do have 8 on the roster right now. And speaking of defensemen, obviously tonight was a night that we're going to focus on the defensemen. Stephen Johns had a rough night. He had a rough game last game as well, and tonight he was punished for it. He gave up the puck on the first, had a bad turnover that led to the first goal. The second goal, Torrey Krug was able to establish position and was completely ignored and scored easily to make it 2-0. And after that, Johns was stapled to the bench for the rest of the second period. He then skated 4 shifts in the third period and had about 9 minutes, 45 seconds of ice time, while every other Stars defenseman skated at least 16:56 tonight. I understand making a player pay for his mistakes, but the Stars are out of the playoffs right now, and having Johns sit and having him bench doesn't do anything. It's the point of the year where with the final 5 games, you're out of the playoffs. Whether you win or lose doesn't matter. In fact, if you lose, it helps your odds for maybe getting a better pick in the draft lottery. So let the young guys play through mistakes. So Johns there's no reason to bench Johns there. Speaking of young guys playing through mistakes, Julius Honka returned to the NHL lineup tonight. The Texas Stars are all but out of the AHL playoffs. So he's called up, and he's probably going to play the final 5 games. And he's going to make mistakes, but those mistakes are actually, I tried to make this point on Twitter, and if it didn't come across correctly, it's basically he's going to make mistakes, and that's actually going to be good for his development. In the AHL, Julius Honka has reached the point where he is above the level of competition. He can play, and he can toy with the puck, and when he does make a mistake, he's a good enough skater and a fast enough skater, and the talent level's not high enough down there to make him pay for those mistakes. So he continues to make those same mistakes, but it doesn't hurt him, and it doesn't hurt his team, and it doesn't hurt the bottom line. In the NHL, if he makes those mistakes, it's going to hurt his team. So him making those mistakes and learning from them and learning what he has to do to take those out of his game at the NHL level, that's going to be huge for his development over those final 5 games. So might be a bit frustrating with Honka over the final 5 games. He's going to make mistakes, but he's also going to make those great. He's going to make some passes. He's going to make some plays that other players aren't going to be able to make. We have to live with the mistakes and realize that it's for the greater good of the franchise and Honka. Hopefully, we'll have an update on McKenzie soon, and we'll see what the Stars look like on Saturday when they play the Hurricanes and how they manage the lineup. Everyone have a good rest of the week.